Hey there guys, IrishTale here, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys a beginner's guide to playing Clash. So this is for all of you guys out there that are looking forward to playing this new defending operator when she drops on the 4th of September next Tuesday. Of course, as I said, this is just a beginner's guide, it's not with the detailed sort of strategies. Basically the idea of this is I'm just going to go through all the different areas that she's good at, her weaknesses, and basically how you can play as, around, and against her. So first of all, let's talk about playing as Clash. So you are an amazing anchor player when you play Clash. She is probably one of the best operators in the moment to play on anchoring a site, and you have to remember that when you play her. She is great at gathering intel, holding down a site, slowing down enemy pushes, informing your teammates, distracting the enemies. Basically, she is the ultimate support operator at the moment, at least when it comes to being like a heavy on-site anchor. You do have to remember you are not a frag heavy operator with her. You're not going to be going on these crazy roaming strats on your own. You are not that kind of player when you're playing Clash. You are the kind of person that hunkers down and holds a site really securely with this character. And I think that's probably one of the key things that I hope you take from this video, is that she's not this just amazing roamer, and you do want to play quite defensively, quite passively with her, and you need to be thinking more of how you can play with a teammate rather than how you can play on your own. Essentially, you've got to kind of think of yourself as a walking mirror shield with the ability to be where your teammates need you most, to like provide effective lines of sight, information, you know, just the general bits of stuff that your teammates need to actually get kills themselves, as you are basically that assist operator. There is a reason that you aren't a 3-speed operator, and you need to view yourself as the 1-speed that you are, because, you know, you shouldn't be pushing unnecessary corners or enemy locations. There is no need to do that. The big mentality switch here, I think, with Clash is you have to remember you are a shield on defense. There is no need to push the enemy team, unlike with Montagna, Blitz, Fuse, any of the regular attacking operators with shields. The difference is the enemy team have to come towards you. They have to push into where you are rather than you pushing to where they are. And again, it's one of these things where it's difficult to get into your head. You have to take a little bit of a mentality swap with it. But it's very good because obviously, you know, it means that thing of you don't have to aggressively push. Because at the minute, one of the major problems I'm seeing with Clash players is they're playing very aggressively, a lot more aggressively than they should be, and they're not utilising her abilities when it comes to just anchoring down a site. And I think it is just that thing of you have to remember first and foremost, you are a shield. And that is probably the most important thing that you'll take from this video, hopefully, is that you need to be in that frame of mind. Otherwise, if you're pushing too aggressively, you're going to be exposing yourself, you're going to be exposing your teammates, you're going to let them down, you're not going to be able to offer that shield protection that you have. You know, you might get flanked quite easily, again, if you're pushing too aggressively. So it's just very important to think of all those things when you're playing as Clash. You've got to have a lot in your mind when you're playing Clash. It's a very difficult operator to play well, and you also need to make sure that you're communicating with your teammates. It's a very key point, given that you can't spot with like a camera sort of thing. You can ping, but obviously a ping can mean anything. You are going to have to vocalise what you can see, what you're doing, what you want your teammate to do, and also responding to what they're asking you to do. And again, it's an operator that's going to rely heavily on communication, so a teammate can utilise the sort of the skill set that you offer effectively. And speaking of teammates, let's move on to playing around and next to Clash as another defender. So the way that I look at this is that you have to imagine that Clash is basically, as I said earlier, a walking mirror shield, and the best way to play with her is to be moving with her behind that deployed shield, and basically just keeping an eye out for what she can see. And sort of, you have to keep the idea of Clash can go round a corner and look directly at an enemy. She can see where an enemy is, she knows exactly where they are, and she can tell you what they're doing and what sort of information is required so that you can capitalise on that as much as possible. So for example, in the clip in the background, I've used like quite a few of them. There's a clip here of me and Core Ross, and basically he's calling out for one of our teammates to come back him up. I get there, and we both push out towards the balcony, and as we push together as a unit, he's obviously preventing me from being harmed, even though the enemy know exactly where I am. And then it was just the case of popping out and getting the kills when he called it was safe to do so. And this is a perfect example of how best to play alongside Clash. You know, it's a great duo kind of pairing. So if you've got a Clash that's good at making calls, got a good idea, you know, you're going to do really well. Because again, if you want to go for frags, you can play alongside her, and it works really, really well. And also what you'll see in that clip is that Ross backs off quite quickly, so obviously he's playing with the mind of we need to be supportive here, and I try and push forward a little bit, but he says no, go back, we're done. And you know, it's that frame of mind again where he's in a support mind, and I pull back with him because he sort of reins it in a bit and goes, yeah, we don't need to push that anymore, we've got what we needed, we've got the frag, and we've got a load of damage out. And it's that great thing of this is how I think Clash is going to be played. Obviously there are considerations to make. She's not going to be perfect on every single map. Some maps she's not required, some bomb sites again she's not required. Obviously it is down to your own discretion of where and why you think she should be used. And of course sometimes she can do alternate strats. So for example on the biker clubhouse, we were playing clubhouse, and in the basement of clubhouse we went for a clash instead of a mirror, and it worked out quite well because the enemy team weren't expecting that, and it was a bit of a different kind of hole for that laundry basement area. And just generally speaking, that's the kind of stuff you want to be thinking of when you're playing with Clash. Where can I play her, and where is she going to be most useful? Because in some, like I say, in some bomb sites, she just won't have the abilities that you really want her to have. And then let's move on to talking around another sort of area rather to talk about before I jump off actually, is another great way to play alongside her is actually to use Clash as a distraction for the enemy team and basically have her as bait. So what you do is you get her to stand in an entrance, a hallway, whatever it is. She uses her electronic device to slow them down, grab their attention, and you can flank around the back end of a doorway or something and shoot the enemy team in the back while they're focusing and trying to shoot this shield operator. So it's one of those cool things again where you have to, if you can work with her, you'll definitely capitalise on the enemy team, and it's definitely worth considering maybe even doing duo roaming strats with her, so that you have two of you out and about because you've got this mobile cover to use when you're roaming. And now, of course, let's move on to playing against Clash. Now, this is one of the things that I've seen a lot of people complaining about. A lot of people have said it's really overpowered to have a shield on defense. You know, why do they need a shield? And you know what? It's fair. There are a lot of issues with playing with Clash, but there are some quite easy ways to counter her that I think a lot of people are missing. I'm going to try and break some of those down for you now, so if you come against a Clash, you kind of know how to deal with her. So the first thing to think about is the idea that Clash is bulletproof, but only from the front. The same as every other sort of operator in the game who has a shield. If you can get a good crossfire going, you're going to be able to kill this shield operator. It's the same with any kind of operator with a shield. It's going to have to take a little bit of a mentality switch. Again, when you're on the attacking team, it's just something else to consider. The next operator that I want to talk about that's really good for actually taking her out directly is Zofia. Now, Zofia obviously has her lifeline, and when she hits Clash with that, Clash pulls her shield up and exposes her left leg. And basically the idea here is that this is something that you can shoot and cause damage to her if she stood in front of you and you feel like, oh, okay, I can't get close enough to her. You can shoot her with the lifeline and then she exposes herself. Obviously the effect is the same if you melee Clash as well, but the issue there is you do have to close quite a lot of ground to get to her before you're able to do that. And of course with the slow effect from the electricity device, it doesn't work quite well. But that's one of the key things you have to think about with her is, what is the distance to myself and her as an attacker? Is she sort of within a distance that I can sprint to her and get her? Or is she too far that if she shocks me, she can just keep baiting me around? Because again, that's another problem I've seen with her. A lot of people seem to think they can take her one-on-one in these large open spaces. And again, it's just not going to be the case. Clash can bait you around, kite you around, slow you down, and you'll never get close to her if you're in this 1v1 situation, because she can just back away from you really easily and slow you down while dealing damage. And it's not a huge amount of damage, but over time, it's going to start to hurt, and that's something to consider. So the next operator that's worth taking out with her is Thatcher. Now, Thatcher, again, is a great operator for just taking her out, because he can obviously throw his EMP grenade, deactivates her electrical field, electrical shock thing rather, and you can rush in. You can rush towards her without being slowed, bash away the shield and shoot her. And of course, that's a really easy tactic to use. Basically, it means that she's just there as the shield. And I'll be honest, in a 1v1 situation, if that shield's not working, you're going to win 9 times out of 10 because she's not going to be able to get you as fast as you can get her. So, again, Thatcher, if you're finding any issues with Clash in that sort of regard, it's definitely an easy pick there to take her out. And of course, the final pick that I would suggest if you want to really combat against a Clash is, of course, Capital. The 2 asphyxiating bolts that he has are absolutely fantastic. They do an absolute shit ton of damage, and they are probably, as I said, the best way to deal with it. If you have a Clash that's in front of you, you have a Capital, literally just throw out an asphyxiating bolt. That's it, she's gonna die. You're gonna get her pretty easy. And of course, you know, she can run away from them, but you've got 2 of them. And realistically, if you know where you're placing them, you're going to cause enough damage to get the kills, which is really all you need when it comes to Clash anyway. There are other ways to deal with her, of course. You can throw grenades behind her and try and get to turn around and shoot her, all that kind of stuff. But again, that'll come with a bit of time and practice. Personally, I've not been able to do it, but it's something that I'm looking into trying to get figured out timing-wise. So obviously I'll keep you posted on that if I do figure out any kind of good timing slots. But that is just basically the basics of Clash. So of course, just to do a quick recap for you, so on defending side, if you're playing as her, you are a site anchor, remember that. Don't expose yourself too much unless you have somebody to back you up if you are going to go roaming. If you're roaming with her, communication is the absolute crutch 100% of the time. You need to make sure you're communicating with her, because otherwise you're going to be left behind, you're going to be left out of cover, and you're going to get yourself killed, even with that shield there trying to protect you. And of course, attacking her, remember to keep yourself at a decent distance so that she can't shock you too much. If you are going to push her, try and get as close as you can so you can bash that shield away. Or alternatively, use an operator that can actually get her to remove her ability. So either Thatcher, Zafir, or Capital. They are the 3 key operators for taking her out. Another key little bonus feature that I want to talk about is obviously the electrifying ability in a one-on-one. If you're in a one-on-one situation with Clash and she is slowing you down, make sure if you're shooting her that you swap to a sidearm before you reload, because that is one of the things that I've noticed a lot of players doing. They will waste all of their primary ammo, the Clash then just swaps to a pistol, comes around a corner, jumps through a window, and kills that player while they're reloading. So it is something to take in mind there that, you know, she can hear you, she can see you, so, you know, reloading doesn't make you safe, it puts you into that exposed position. So definitely remember that, definitely be thinking about that when you're playing against her. Also, you know, another key factor is, if you're playing Clash, is the shield is bulletproof on your back and it covers a shit ton of your body. So if you do find yourself needing to run away from the enemy, put your shield away and it gives you some sort of protection from them shooting you. And of course, my final tip is never turn your back on Clash. I feel like this should be obvious, even if you're being electrocuted. Don't turn around from her and try and run away, because then she'll just drop her shield and kill you. And it just makes you an easy target. Just back away from her slowly. If she keeps pushing you, try and break line of sight with a corner or something. But just never turn your back on her, because otherwise it's just an easy kill. But those are just a few of my beginner's tips for Clash. Obviously, if you have any ideas of your own, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Obviously, if you're not a huge fan of Clash, let me know why. I want to hear some thoughts about why people aren't too keen on her at the minute, as it's genuinely quite interesting for me. Other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Obviously, a like would be greatly appreciated if you did. A dislike is just there if you didn't. I do, as I said in the last video, I am streaming on Twitch regularly with some other YouTubers, so feel free to head over to the Twitch link in the description below to follow me. There's also my merch store as well in the link in the description as well, so feel free to check any of those out. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.